Aloha Cupcakes. Tonight I'm working with the King 13s. I'm going to be using the number 1, the 000, and then the 70 brush. Ready for this? Let's go. Okay, we're going to start off. I'm going to use Alpha 6s, Alpha Blue, in a cup. I'm not going to put any flow enhancers, no hardeners. I'm just going to go straight paint today because I really am kind of excited about this. I've been avoiding these brushes for a very long time. So I'm going to start with the number 1. Yeah, well, this is fat. All right. So a thing that I started doing around here during all of the different paint tests that I've been doing is I start off with the cup. I've been putting the paint in the cup. I've been paletting in the cup initially, and then I just kind of palette out on the paper just like this, just to get it flattened out a little bit. And I'll add a little bit of reducer here, but I always dip it into the cup first. Like, it's just something I started doing when I'm working with these other paints, just because it is more consistent when I'm doing it this way. Highly recommend doing it. You waste a lot less paint. Because some of these samples that I've been getting have been very small, so paint waste is important. Now, first thing I notice pulling this brush is that it is a lot softer than it appears. It is a lot more flexible than it appears, and I wasn't ready for it. So yeah, there's a little deficiency in that line, and I'm going to have to fix that. Even for test purposes, I got to try to pull at least a consistent line. So, there, fixed it. The other thing is that I did not trim this. I just pulled this thing straight out of the tube because I was doing a live on one of the other social medias. And I was just like, it's time to get to it. Now, this first test here, I did speed up the video, so I think we're at like 2 times. The rest of this video will be in real time, just because I could. Now, so far, I am liking this brush. It's not quite as rigid as most of the other brushes that I have that are in this gauge. So I kind of have to play around with it. I have to kind of boost my confidence a little bit, and I think I need to be pulling starbs a little bit faster. So what that means is I can work faster with this brush than I would normally with any of the others. Big fan of that. Now, some of these longer lines, I'm getting right up on the tip. It's getting a little bit thinner. I am losing a little bit of consistency, but that also is probably because it's the first time getting this brush used. So I may have to revisit that after I give these things a bath in oil for a couple of days. But for right now, this is more of my first impressions of a brush I've been avoiding for 12 years. And right here, maybe not this one necessarily, but I'm going to say in this next line that I pull, this next curve right here, because I'm trying to pull this a little bit tighter. Now, I have been working with some of these brushes that are heavier, and then I've been working with a lot of thinner brushes. This one, because of the way that it's shaped, I am getting a very tight turn with a very consistent line throughout all of it, and I'm able to maintain a very thin line with a number 1 gauge brush. Now, if that's any indication as to how the other 2 brushes are going to go, this is going to be a fun night. Because even just this, pivoting off of my middle finger just to pull an arch, I'm able to get a very solid, consistent curve coming out of this thing. Big fan of that. It is just something that, I don't know, there's been a lot of talk about what you can and cannot do with these freaking stripers, and the tighter the curves, the more you can do with it, basically. But that's also the same flexibility that it comes with that was making it a little difficult for me to pull the straight lines. So, and that's just working it over time. I've developed the right speed, so I know how fast to move with it. And yeah, it's almost like I have a different speed for each of the brushes that I've got. And this one seems to be one where I have to move a lot faster if I want to maintain those really good consistent lines. Because even this one, I slowed down a little bit for this curve, and I probably should not have. So, if you're going to work with one of these brushes, you probably have to have a little bit of confidence in where you're going, and you need to really be accurate about where you're aiming. But I think if you can get comfortable pulling a little bit quicker, this is pulling some really nice looking lines. And this is not exactly the flagship of brushes. Don't worry, we're getting to that 7 zeros here eventually, I promise. That being said, I'm also going to switch over. We're going to start with the 000 next. Now, this one, out of the gate, I was already prepared to pull a little bit faster. It's also why we're doing real-time video here as opposed to a sped-up one. So it may look slower than I pulled last time, but I'm actually going faster than I did last time. So, and I am definitely getting a much cleaner line with a faster pull. So that is, I don't know, that's something I'm going to have to work with. That is something I'm going to have to get more comfortable with because I'm pretty sure I can go a whole lot faster than I'm going right now. And then it looks like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna, that's just me. I got to mix the paint a little bit better. It just kind of has a little globby in it. Oh God, that's floppy. Look at that thing. It just like bends right over. This is the thing that I didn't like about these brushes years ago. It was floppy, and I felt like that made me less accurate as far as where I was going to put the brush down. But I think it also gives me a lot more playroom in terms of where the brush is going while I'm working. I guess I just didn't see that way years ago. Today, on the other hand, because I've gotten so accustomed to, well, every aspect of these things, and I've developed an affinity for some of these softer brushes, this is kind of awesome. Like, I feel like this one is a lot closer to the Alien Deathhawk when I take the Alien Deathhawk, like, fresh out of its bath. But this one is not fresh out of the bath. This is just how this one's pulling. Now, it curling over on me a little bit is kind of weird. Also, I have things leaking on me in the garage. Always twist your caps down tightly. That's the best thing I can tell you on that one. Now, I don't know. I'm still not entirely, like, even just paleting it out, it's all over the place. And it's just daunting to me that it is. But let's see if I can pull some. Okay, I like the way that this one right here tapers off. Like, I think if I can just ride this thing just a little bit closer to the tip. Here, let me try. I have a couple of ideas here, but I think if I'm just going to ride just right on that tip and pull off into the abyss. Okay, I like that one. Actually, that's really clean. That's surprisingly clean for anything. Like, that's the type of detail I would get out of a scrolling brush. I wouldn't have anticipated that out of a striper. So let's see if I can, let's come around from this side. I'm going to see if I can join in and see if I could just meet up with the two lines. Not as clean as I wanted it, but cleaner than I expected. Okay. Okay, this is kind of fun. It's growing on me quickly, actually. So, yes, it's floppy, and yeah, that still is a concern to me. But I think if I just take my time with where I start the line, just like this one, and then just pull. Just pick a spot, pull. Yeah, and that is even crossing over semi-tacky lines, I'm not having a lot of drag with it just because it's flexible. I kind of like that. That is fun. Yeah, okay. This brush isn't nearly as bad as I had thought it would be. So I kind of, like, I'm just gonna pull one. I don't know, over here somewhere. I just want to do it again. I just want to see if it's just as consistent or if that's just me. Ew. And I got it. Okay. Okay, I'm sold on these. These are fun. This is working for me. Like, I don't know that I would use these every day. This feels like something I'm gonna have to work with for quite a while before I'm completely confident and comfortable with them. But I think I can work with this. And then why I chose just to pull any form of straight line. I guess I just wanted to see how that corner was gonna fit, and it didn't. So that's just a design flaw on my part for it's paper. So yeah, even pulling the opposite, or well, yeah, pulling the opposite way, right? Clockwise, counterclockwise. I still don't have. It's usually the way that when I'm pulling that way, when I'm pulling clockwise, I'll get a little bit of drag, especially when I start pulling closer to myself. This one didn't really do that too much. Yeah. So this is a shape I'm not entirely comfortable doing, but this brush is. Kind of like that. Okay. I can work with this. So yeah, this one's very similar to the Alien Deathhawk. It's a bit more flexible. Like, I would say that this might be too flexible, but I think if I work with it long enough, I'll get comfortable with it. I know. Okay, that one wasn't that bad. I liked that one. That one worked. Okay. Yeah, no, this one, it's definitely something I'm not 100% comfortable working with right out the bat. But this is something that I can work with. If I was to work with this a decade ago, I probably would have. Well, I know exactly what I did with the one that I had a decade ago. And actually, you know what? I think I just gave it to somebody. I don't think I did anything weird for once, but I definitely was not a fan of it. So maybe I just wasn't good enough to be handling a brush like this before. Maybe. Maybe I'm still not, but I'm going to do it anyways. All right, so 7 zeros. This one's super floppy. Even up and down, it still just like folds. It keeps its shape, but it kind of just doesn't want to. Now this is surprising. I mean, this one, I feel like my hand's quivering a little bit because I am reaching further over the board that I'm painting. And I think that might be the best straight line I've pulled with one of these brushes so far. And it's also the one where my hand had to, like, I had to stop a couple times because my hand was off. So this one kind of, I guess it's more forgiving. But this is so smooth. This brush is like freaking butter. Like that's consistent. That's I'm kind of mad at myself. Like, this has been available to me for like forever, and I have stayed as far away from them as possible. And just, wow, that was all right. Let's see how we actually do with this thing. Nah, that's clean. That was just smooth. All right, let's try some turny stuff with this thing. Okay, I've got scrolling brushes that don't pull that tight. And that's sharp. Oh, wow. Okay. No, that is, my goodness, and this thing surprisingly holds a ton of paint for, I mean, yeah, I got to go resharpen the edge a little bit here, but so I wasn't paletting to reload. I was paletting to make sure that that tip stays sharp, but I mean, look at that. Like, even for something, because I haven't trimmed this brush. I'm just going in and I'm still getting really clean tips at the end of these lines. I'm getting very smooth pulls. These turns are so freaking tight. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. I like this brush. Oh my goodness. This thing is fun. Like, just, wow. So in my own defense, I will say that I did not, like, I had heard that there was a 5-0, and I may have actually attempted a 5-0 once. I did not know there was a 7-0, and oh my goodness, I expected something that was just paper thin, wink, and just floppy, and no, this brush is fun. Like, am I going to try to pull these curves as quickly as I would with a scrolling brush? No, not by any means, but am I going to get some amazing turns with this thing? I mean, so far, like, all right, let's try doing something a little more how I normally work. And I'm just going to pivot off my middle. And this is usually where the brush will flare out, and it did not. Ooh. That's it. That's even got a good sharp point on the end of that line like that. All right, let's do something silly here. I'm going to drag one into that tip. And then the accuracy of this thing, because it is so floppy and because I have so much leeway with it, I wouldn't normally be confident pulling a line that close to another line without it bleeding or sticking to it or whatever, but no, I was able to do it. Okay, I think I really like this brush. I think you should try this brush. This thing's freaking amazing, and I'm not afraid to admit it. So, number one, good brush. Reminds me a lot of the Tom Kelly. The 000, also great brush. Very similar to the Alien Deathhawk. But this 7-0, this thing has been freaking amazing. So, to the next video. Stay moist, my friends.